What's up everybody and welcome back. Now there's one thing that Canon is known for besides their color science and their autofocus. And it's always crippling their cameras. No matter what it is, they always find a way to deliver underwhelming specs or an issue that we as prosumers would have. With the R5 it's overheating. With the R6 it's overheating. But there are a few things with that camera that Canon isn't talking about right now. I know everybody's probably tired of this, but let me get into the specs of the R6. 4K up to 60 frames per second, 4K to 20 and 30 frames per second, 120 frames per second in 1080p, dual card slots, IBP codec, which is pretty sad, and a 20.1 megapixel camera. You know, it sounds almost like my Fuji X-T3, but just not as good, so the specs are out the way, and honestly it's a beast of a camera, let's be honest there. Full frame or not, it is a really beast of a camera. But now we're gonna get into the bits per second, which is the scary part. So I'm not going to talk about the H.264 codec. I'm only going to be speaking on the H.265. Now at 60 frames per second, the H.265 codec do deliver 340 megabits per second. Not as good as the EOS R at 480 megabits per second, but you know, it's okay. So here's the scary part. At 4K at 24 frames per second and 30, it only delivers in 170 megabits per second. Why? If this camera is an upgrade to the EOS R, why is it not shooting at the same image quality or megabits per second as the EOS R is? 170 megabits is sad for a camera like the R6 that you've been marketing pretty heavily. It get worse. So at the 4K time lapse, it does have all eye, but it shoots at 470 megabits per second, which is what you're marketing the camera as. But so far, this is the only mode in the camera that can shoot at 470 megabits per second. Now, the 1080 is pretty good. The 1080 actually get recorded at 180 megabits per second, which is decent, you know. The EOS R did 200 megabits. My Fuji do 200 megabits, so you know, it's pretty decent, you know. So that's the problem. Let me go over to the EOS R specs. 8-bit internally, 480 megabits per second at 4K 60, at 4K 24 and 30. 200 megabits per second at 1080. I'm not going to talk about the 720 because it's 2020. And I also forgot that the R6 does do 10-bit internally. That is actually a really good thing. That do make this a beast of a camera. But I feel like they crippled this camera power. This is why I feel like the R6 is not really an upgrade, but more of a side grade. The true upgrade to the Canon EOS R is the R5, which shoot in 8K, which is a beast. It does have an amazing image with some amazing features. But Sony is coming for their neck too, so watch out for that. I mean, come on Canon, why can't you give your prosumers what they want? You know, I've been in this field for 2 years, so I'm learning like everybody else. But the fact that you always cripple your camera so they don't compete with your cinema line is a major issue. Because of your color science, because of your autofocus, you can actually dominate the industry if you stop purposely damaging your cameras or crippling them. Now, I've been around millionaires. I've been around people who produce 7 figures a year, who built huge teams. And even they would say, if you're crippling something that can be your best possible product, then you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're not taking advantage of the market size that you have. Everybody loves Canon because of their autofocus and their color science, but you keep delivering mirrorless cameras that don't do those two justice, besides the R5. Because if you could fix that overheating issue, then whew, that would be a beast of a camera. But until you do, I feel like Sony dominating the market right now. And even Matty Hippolyta, who's a Canon fanboy, probably the biggest ever, even say that he feels that Sony has better color science than Canon has right now.
This is the first time that I think Sony's color science is better than Canon's color science.
Which is a huge statement for him to say. So that pretty much means that you guys are in trouble. So let's change subjects. I can't remember in the last couple of videos if I told you I was moving. Well, it's done. I'm here now. This is my new room. This is where I will be doing some of my filming at. But I would have the whole condo to myself. You know, that would give me a chance to become more creative. That would give me a chance to produce more videos. Stuff that I couldn't really do at my last place, but I can actually do here. It could be something with cooking or something that maybe I want to show you, like how to shoot an interview or how I would shoot certain scenes. You know, I have the space for that now. So it gives me a chance to expand and give me a chance to really just push myself. Create some dope content for you guys. Maybe even just some dope B-roll. Maybe even a short film scene here. Something that can keep inspiring me and keep producing content for you guys. because I'm on a journey to get better, but I can't do that if I don't make content. I can't do that if I'm standing still. The wheels do not turn and gain traction or motion if it's not moving. And that's the huge problem with most people, that they like to stay still. They get comfortable with what they're doing and they just want to stay in that lane. And just like Blockbuster, just like everybody else who failed, you will fail. You will fall behind and your catch-up game will not be strong enough for you to actually make it. Do you know that Netflix actually offered themselves to Blockbuster years ago when they were still big, and Blockbuster declined? I bet they're regretting that right now. Okay guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video. I wanted to keep it short. Now, I am not bashing the R6 because honestly, it's really similar to my Fuji X-T3. It's just full frame, that's the only difference. And my Fuji shoot bigger and better bit rates, honestly. It's pretty much it, but I'm not bashing it because if you got this camera, you can really create some awesome content with it. You just have to be creative. Do not let the gear that you're using limit yourself to what you can create, because I promise you, that's not the issue. It's 2020. Every camera out here is really good enough for you to create and use, either in a professional setting or a personal setting. And Maddie said it best, and when he said this, it stuck with me. If you can't make great content with the cameras that we have now, then you suck. It's not the cameras. But before you guys go, what I want you to do is smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I upload new content. Have a good day. Peace.